You're live with BBC News with me, Mark Lobel. President Biden has hosted the South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol for a state dinner in Washington. The two leaders secured a new agreement called the Washington Declaration, aimed at deterring an attack on Seoul. Speaking at a joint press conference, President Biden sent this warning to Pyongyang.
A nuclear attack by North Korea against the United States or its allies or partisans or partners is unacceptable and will result in the end of whatever regime were to take such an action.
The BBC's Seoul correspondent Jean Mackenzie explained what this agreement involves.
So this deal is the US stepping up its commitment to use nuclear weapons to defend South Korea from North Korea. You know, the US is responsible for South Korea's defense, and it's always implied that it would use nuclear weapons if necessary. But recently people here in Seoul have begun to question that commitment, and they needed reassurance. So as part of this new deal, what the US is going to do is it's going to send one of its submarines armed with nuclear weapons to the peninsula. Now, it won't be stationed here permanently, but it will come periodically. Another thing the two sides are going to do is form this joint nuclear planning group. And this allows South Korea to be more involved in understanding how and when the US would use its nuclear weapons. You know, politicians here essentially have been kept in the dark with little understanding of what would actually trigger the US president to push the nuclear button on its behalf. But in return for these US commitments, Seoul is being made to promise that it is not going to develop its own nuclear weapons, because that's something that people here have been calling for in increasing numbers. It's something that has worried people in Washington, and really it's the reason that we're seeing these new measures be introduced.